I never know whether we are live already. Are we live? Hello, everyone. I don't know if we are live. Am I just talking to myself here? This is all very confusing. Oh, yes. Now I can see myself on my second screen over here. We are live. Hi. Hello, whoever is joining us. Welcome. Welcome to today's beautiful healing adventure. Please excuse my please excuse me as I put all this together on my end. Okay, here we go. I can see the chat. I can see all of it. Hi. Hi. How are you doing today? What has today been like for you? Was it filled with a lot of exciting stuff? Or was it a more of a slower day with not as much doing involved? My day has been rather slow. I've been integrating some really big energy, and so I needed to relax and settle down, not do much. And really be the observer to my experience. For as we observe our experiences, they receive the permission to transform. As we observe our experiences, they receive the permission to transform. And with that, I would like to start today's live stream with an open-eyed meditation, which simply means that we are going to sit in stillness, which is going to anchor us into a vibration of safety. We're going to sit in stillness. You can look into my eyes, and I will share the following words with you. And the words are, by the way, I love you all. I love you all so much. So much. Anyway, what if there was nothing that was in the way? What if you weren't in the way? What if nothing within your experience was actually in the way of anything? And I'll tell you what that means. When you are afraid of something, the fear is not actually in the way of the thing that you are afraid of. And so, let's say you're afraid of confrontation, but your fear of confrontation isn't in the way of confrontation. Your fear of intimacy isn't in the way of intimacy. Your fear of abandonment isn't in the way of sovereignty. Nothing is in the way. Nothing is in the way of anything. There is simply what you are experiencing. And what you are experiencing and what you are feeling is what you are healing, is what's being transformed through you. And so, how could really anything be in the way when everything is simply evidence of transformation? When you are feeling angry, the anger is not in the way of anything. The anger is not in the way of being calm. It's simply the transformation that is taking place within you that feels like anger. When you are sad, sadness is not in the way of happiness. You are simply experiencing a healing process through the feeling of the very sadness that you have the opportunity to observe. And that is why we sit in stillness and we observe. And here is a funny way to know whether something is in the way or if it's not in the way. If you can observe it, it's not in the way of anything. If you can observe it, it's not in the way. It's not blocking anything. It's simply what is happening in your awareness, which is simultaneously the awareness of love. And when it's happening in the awareness of love, it is being transformed by love. So there is nothing in the way. You are never in the way. You are the way. You are the way. There are sometimes these spiritual teachings that say that you need to get out of the way. But to get out of the way would mean that there is a separate you, and then there is the way. But that is not possible. You cannot be in the way of anything. You are never in the way. You are the way. And when you observe, you are anchoring yourself in the way that you are. Just the way you are. Just the way you are. Now with that, let's move on to the topic of today's live stream. Self-worth. And the question becomes, how do we bridge the separation between how we've been conditioned and our true innate infinite self-worth, our true innate worth? How do we bridge the gap into remembering that you are worthy of all the love, pleasure, and grace, and good fortune that you could ever desire? How do we bridge the gap? And we bridge the gap into the remembrance of our innate self-worth by simply taking space away from the things that we fixate on in the hopes that they will somehow give us the sense of identity or purpose or fulfillment that really needs to come from within us. And so it begins with an inquiry. An inquiry that says, what am I giving my power away to? What do I think is going to fulfill me and make me feel whole and complete? As if wholeness wasn't already within me. As if wholeness wasn't that which I already am. What am I hoping will give me a sense of identity? What am I hoping is going to complete me? What am I hoping is going to give me a sense of completion? What am I hoping is going to define me? What am I hoping that is going to fill the lack that I have been feeling within myself? Is it a job? Is it a relationship? Is it addictive patterning? Is it a fantasy? Is it a fantasy that we have created an addiction to? And you see, that is what is at the root of trauma bonding. Not just in relationships, but trauma bonding with anything in existence. We trauma bond with things, with people and things and places, when the desire or when the intention behind our interaction with something or someone is, you are going to fill in for the lack of wholeness within me. And what usually ends up happening in relationships, in trauma bonding, is that we take some pieces of ourselves because we don't like them, we gotta hand them over to the other person. And they hand their pieces of themselves back to us, which can lead to some rather painful relational dynamics. Because when you are taking into your energy field parts of you that actually don't belong to you, it can be rather painful. It can be rather anxiety inducing. That is also what abuse is. Abuse is like an extreme example of a trauma bond. Because when somebody is abusing you, they are literally trying to jump inside your body, because they cannot take how uncomfortable they feel within themselves. And so they're trying to take their pain and hide it within you. And it is why abuse is painful, because it's someone trying to hide pieces of themselves within you. And to a lesser extent, we all do this. We hand pieces of ourselves to others. Perhaps not necessarily in an abusive way, but in a codependent way. And it's usually some degree of, if I do this, you'll do this for me. If I do that, you will do that for me. It's an exchange, as if we were swapping our relational presence and attunement like a commodity that is to be sold. It's called transactional relationships. If I do this for you, then you won't abandon me. If I do this for you, then you won't betray me. If I do that, then I will, or then you will rather help me hide from the wounds that have already been within me. And so trauma bonding is like two people agreeing that they will together hide from their pain. And then they hang out. And they're both hiding. They're both hiding. That's why, on some level, it can feel like it works. Because when you've been hiding your entire life, and hiding is what you know, you can be very comfortable with it. The question is, are you willing to go on a journey of facing yourself fully that will eventually delete any possibility of trauma bonding out of your field? Are you willing to go on a journey that will return you to your innate worth and wholeness? And it's okay if the answer is no. But if the answer is, well, I don't know, maybe, or there's just openness within you, then I welcome you on a path of enlightenment, where enlightenment is simply a journey of reclaiming each and every piece of yourself, no matter how deeply you have dissociated yourself from it or tried to hide away from it. There is a book from the creator of the internal family systems therapy. His name is Richard Schwartz. He's a therapist and he created the IFS model, and his book is called No Bad Parts. No bad parts. Meaning it's all you. All the parts of you. They belong to you. They belong to the infinite wholeness that you are. The infinite worth that you deserve to remember. And it begins with a journey of facing yourself. And I'll tell you another reason why it's so important to face ourselves. We face ourselves, we first face our pain as a training ground, as a preparation, so we can face divinity. We face our own pain so we can face the divine light that we are, the divine truth that we are. Why is it so important to face the painful parts within us? Because it prepares you to face the divine. If you were to face the divine before you were fully trained and prepared, your system would crumble. It would be too much, because it would feel like being burned by the power of the sun. And so we develop a willingness and a practice of facing ourselves, because somewhere down the road we are going to be facing the divine. And the divine will say, I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm so happy to be here with you. And it's not gonna feel any longer as if you were being burned by the sun. It's going to feel as if you were the sun, as if the glory and magnitude of the sun was within you, which it always is. The question is, how much of it are we willing to let into our experience through the journey of facing ourselves? And so can we just sit here, remember our infinite worth, and simply face all the things we may have been avoiding? Now that we've outlined why it's so important, why it's such a big deal, can we face all the things that we have been putting off? Can we face the things that we don't like about ourselves? Can we face the things that don't feel comfortable? Not by trying to force ourselves to feel anything we don't want to feel, but simply observing whatever it is that we are actually feeling. And if there is the resistance within you, remember, the resistance is not in the way. You are simply observing resistance. You're feeling resistance. Resistance is not in the way. Nothing is in the way. You are the way. By the way. You are the way, by the way. And so we face it all, just one breath at a time. No need to rush. You have all the time in the world, all the time in existence. Simply face it all. So sorry. Oh, simply face it all. This happens to me sometimes during transmissions when I'm clearing people's throat chakras. Start coughing out of nowhere. Share in the chat what it is that you are noticing within yourself, that you are now more than ever ready to face. Let's make this into an interactive experience. What is it that you are ready to face within you? What is it that can be now seen that wasn't seen before? I've been feeling pain and I can face that now. Yeah. You can face pain now. And one of the limiting beliefs we have about pain is that if we face it, it's going to get worse or it's going to last forever. But you can just remind yourself that the more you are facing the pain, the more it receives the permission to transform, and the better you will feel. The easier it will be. The easier it will become. And so we befriend all those aspects of ourselves. We befriend pain, we befriend confusion, we befriend sadness and fear and despair. For those are simply the seeds in the garden of divinity. that you are ready to use as fertile soil for your most immaculate and beautiful and incredible growth. You are ready to face it all. Perhaps it is the loss of control that you don't know how to make your peace with. And it is just simply a thing to observe. To observe the loss of control that you may have felt within yourself. And what's interesting about control is that we learn to face the lack of control just to realize that we've actually never had any control in the first place. But it was simply the divine carrying you through each and every experience. And so for everyone on the live stream, or if you're watching this at a later date, try saying this healing mantra, because I'm feeling some control patterns in the collective. This could really help all of us. Try saying this out loud with me. I don't have to be in control. I can simply allow the divinity that has always been carrying me along to lead the way and to be in charge of all of my choices. The truth is, the divine is always in charge. But it is when I let go of my need for control, when this realization can be fully felt in my awareness. It is not that the divine it is not that the divine is taking the control away from me. It is simply a transition into a deeper energetic alignment with the light that I have always been and shall always be. Only now more aware of it than ever before. Because control is only necessary when I am refusing to face myself. But when I am ready to face it all, there is nothing to control. Oh, that's the end of the healing mantra. But just feel into that. When you are ready to face it all, there is no need to maintain control, because we only want to maintain control to protect ourselves from the things we don't want to feel. So often we want to maintain control because we don't want to feel desperation or abandonment or hopelessness or sadness or boredom or anger or fear. And so we say to ourselves, well, I have to be in control at all cost. No, you don't. No, you don't. You simply need to develop the energetic equity, the emotional equity to be ready and able to face the lack of control within yourself. And as control is surrendered, your infinite worth is remembered. And you can live and celebrate yourself as the love that you are. Have always been and shall always be. Imagine going to heaven and asking the divine, why was my experience so tumultuous? Why did I suffer so deeply during my life? And the divine smiles and says back to you, we simply didn't want to take away the control that you insisted that you needed. That is what created the suffering. But when we get on the fact, and when we admit that we don't have to be in control, and we can simply let go of it, you would be amazed how much easier things become. It's not about giving up your sense of agency. It's simply a state of not trying to control things from an intention that you want to prevent facing and feeling uncomfortable states and emotions. But you can be done with that. You can just open yourself up to facing it all. You can open yourself up to loving yourself so deeply that you're no longer running away or hiding from your experiences, but you are maintaining a level of integrity that doesn't give away any parts of itself, for it would be too painful to give up a part of you while pretending as if you weren't born of infinite worth and sovereignty. And so we face it all instead of fearing it all. We love ourselves through it, but we face ourselves. That is the way to reclaiming your self-worth, to end the dance of trauma bonding, to end any cycles of codependency, and to eventually arrive at freedom from pain, where it's not a freedom from feeling uncomfortable. It's just that we don't run away from it, which adds and creates most of the suffering that we experience. The pain itself is not an issue. It is our tendency to hide from it that really hurts the most. It is our tendency to hide that really hurts the most. And I don't want you to hurt anymore. And it's okay if things get intense at first. Things can get worse before they can get better, because we are digesting the intensity of the wound. And it's okay. That's okay. For the discomfort is only temporary. But the expansion and growth that results from that discomfort is forever. For this lifetime and all future incarnations. For when we face ourselves truly and authentically, we grow on a soul level. Not just as a human being, but as a soul in human form. As a soul in human form. So we're going to wrap up today's transmission. You can again let me know in the chat how you are feeling as a result of the transmission, even though a bunch of people left. Not many people are still here. We have lost our audience. The audience was so excited to face themselves that they needed to turn off the video and go hang out by themselves, where I am not acting as a distraction to them facing themselves. But if you're still here, please let me know how the session was for you. Rimjim says it was beautiful. And so to ground our energy in the aftermath of all of this, let's just take a few breaths together. Allowing all that we have received today to be integrated into our body. Hello, Aaron Beetle. Hello. Oh, it's Halo. Halo, Aaron. Halo. Halo. Wouldn't it be fun if we started saying Halo instead of hello? I think Beyonce would love that. Beyonce would be so excited, and I would be excited too. For realsies. We should start saying Halo instead of hello to celebrate our true, holy, sacred nature. Halo. Halo. Halo, how are you today? Halo. I am fine. Thank you for asking. Let's be sacred together. That would be so fun. I would like to live in a world like that. Because it's like saying, each time you meet someone, hello, you are sacred. Hello, you too are sacred. And thank you for reflecting my sacredness back to me by being so incredibly beautiful and shiny and amazing. What if that was how we greeted ourselves? Wouldn't that be so cool? And so to contribute to a world like that, let's just face ourselves. Let's do the work. Let's heal. I invite you to come to future transmissions so we can all live in a world where we say, "Hello, how are you? Hello, I am fine, thank you for asking. Mr. or Mrs. Sacred, thank you. Thank you. Praise Beyonce, thank you. Thank you so much." Hello, I'm home. Hello, I am howling. Exactly. Exactly. Oh. Anyway, thank you for receiving today's grace with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for facing it all. Thank you for choosing love and choosing to love yourself through it all. Thank you for being a member of this community. And thank you for being here in this world, on this planet. Even when our experiences get intense or gnarly and difficult and uncomfortable. Thank you for choosing to feel rather than to avoid and deny. Just like just like most of the world has been trained to behave. Thank you for being the change this world needs. I bow to your sacred nature. Anyway, so much love to everyone. Take care of yourselves. Happy February, beautiful February. Bye bye. Take care. Much love.